Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Outside the Locker Room online TV show. I'm your host, Jake Edwards, and I'm joined by AFL legend superstar Robert Dippier Domenico, aka Dipper. How are you, buddy?
I'm going really well. Am I like your co-host?
You are? Oh,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to say co-host.
No, just say co-host.
Co-host,
You're the
yeah.
host. You're the man.
I'm the man.
You're the man behind the great Outside the Locker Room, and congratulations on what you've been able to do.
Thanks, Dip.
You run a great ship there, and really looking forward to our second week on the podcast, because what a great week we had last week. What
We did.
beautiful responses. So thank you so much.
Fantastic. We had around 1,500 people watch it live online, which is tremendous. And I think the reach was around nearly 8,000 people on social media. So
That's amazing.
remarkable.
So thank you out there.
Yeah.
All we're trying to do is to bring some great segments to you guys, so you can really stay in touch with us.
Yep.
And we can stay in touch with you. If you've got any problems or anything like that, that's what we want to discuss on the show.
And Dipper, fortunately, off the back of last week's show, we must have done that good of a job that we've had a couple of people reach out and want to support us.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is great. So we want to give a quick shout out to a couple of sponsors. Dip, you want to go?
Yeah, of course. Or David Miller. Dave was the man behind the footy cards. You know, when your children run into a milk bar.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, it's a milk bar these days.
Yeah, milk bar.
Servos, whatever, and you get the team's own footy cards and the team coach footy cards. So we thank you so much for being involved. And what we want to do is say, keep throwing in your questions and some ideas, and you never know, you might be the winner of a box of footy cards, which is worth hundreds of dollars. Imagine walking home inside your house and go, hey, look what I got for you. You'll be the best father or mother forever.
That's it. So next week we'll be picking the best comments tonight. So leave them underneath, and then next week we'll announce a winner.
Absolutely. And who else we got, mate?
Yeah, and also we've got good friends of ours at All Aspects Concreting, because most of our viewers are probably tradies, because there's no football on at the moment.
That's right.
So they'll be sitting at home watching this show, no doubt. So thanks, call out to Daniel and the team there, and Dipper and we might put on a little bit of...
a little topsy. I can see a little fishing top there. But no, thank you so much. But if you want to sponsor the show, what do we have to do, Jake?
Yeah, just get in touch. Jump on our website, message us through there.
Yeah.
Just email an admin@otlr.org.au, and we'll get back in contact. So thank you both for your great support.
Yeah, and we'd love you to be on board. But that was really good last week, because it was one of your ideas to get this thing up and running, and that's had so much fun. And the comments we've got about Johnny Platt, my ex-teammate, and but we're talking about the serious side of life as well.
Yeah, we are. And this show is all about, now with COVID-19 and how it's really put a pause on our lives.
What's that one?
Isn't it?
COVID what?
Yeah, it's put a pause on our lives, Dip. So this show's about helping our sporting communities and also just our communities in general. Sit down on Thursday night when you would be training, perhaps, and listen to Dipper and I talk a little bit about sport, but life as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, how you're coping. And we're going to catch up with people throughout the show and ask them how they're coping. We've got athletes coming up, have a chat to us, and, because we're all coping in different ways. But what I'm missing is the connection, the touch and the feel of people. I know we've got to keep our distance, but I just want to hug you, man.
You do, don't you? You and I give some pretty good hugs.
Yeah, I love a hug, but anyway, I'll just hug myself at the moment. Yeah.
So tonight's show, we've got a really great one looking forward. We've got our local legend, a guy named Corey Sells, who one of our champions and pioneered our program up in Queensland. Last week we had Christy Anir, who pioneered our program in Western Australia.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going north, Dip, up to Queensland. We've got some good exciting news off the back of that. Corey will share his story. We're also going to be running a new segment tonight.
I like this idea of the new segment.
It's called the Leo Barry. So we'll touch on that a little bit later on. Now, every sporting tragic out there in community footy has got that story of that mark, that tackle, that goal after the siren that's won the grand final or important game.
Yeah, what I love about going to a local footy club, which I do a lot of, you go, oh, hey, Dipper, right over there in 1965, and one of the great forebearers of this club kicked a 70-metre torpedo to win the grand final, and there's always a great story. So, Jake, we want people to write in their stories, and hopefully we can get around and they can become the local hero for the night. Yeah,
that's it. And we'll show a bit of footage later of the 2018 grand final between Pines Football Club and Sorrento, where a young bloke kicked a point after the siren to win. So we want to encourage you all, get in contact with us so we can share your local footy club highlight.
Well, just on that point, we talk about our special guest tonight.
We can talk about him.
Okay, well, his name is Maxi Gawn. Maxi Gawn, the new captain of Melbourne. Now, don't ask him to have a shot for goal because he has missed, I reckon, about 6 goals right in front of goal. We're talking about 10 metres. We'll catch up with Maxi, and we really thank him for his time. But
We certainly do.
how does an AFL player cope with COVID-19 at the moment? So,
Yeah, it's interesting times for even AFL footballers, and hopefully I think there's an announcement that they'll be coming back to train. So maybe we can ask Maxi about when he's expected to come back to train as well.
But first time as captain, it's
a big year.
Well, they played one game and they've lost, so he's not going that well.
He's not. And then finally, we're going to open it up to everyone. Please leave your comments down the bottom because we are going to do our Q&A at the very end, where we'll pick 2 questions that Dipper and I will go ahead and answer.
Yeah.
And
what about Dipper's Vault?
And Dipper's Vault, we missed that one, sorry.
That's all right.
And also, so Dipper's Vault will be talking about his top 3 grand final moments, Dip.
Well, I had to just go through the history books, but I played in...
There's so many of them to pick
Well,
from.
I played in 8 grand finals, 7 in a row, and but I've picked 3 little moments which I think that stays with me all the time,
Yeah, no,
Anyway,
that's fantastic.
enough about me. What do you think about me?
And then finally, we're also going to have, unfortunately, Andy won't be with us tonight, who was with us last week. But he will be with us next week. So Dipper and I, just quickly now, let's just talk about what are you doing to stay fit and healthy, Dip?
Well, basically with the isolation, I'm just going for walks, My poor dog's not walking anymore. I just drag him away. Velvet, the pug, she just gets dragged on the belly because...
Velvet?
Yeah, Velvet the pug. Yeah, I love Velvet. Velvet. We've had pugs all our lives. And the thing about Velvet is that, like all dogs at the moment, is that they've got about 9 walks a day now. And the poor dogs that go, no, not again. They seem to leave. No, I'm sort of walking and I'll do like a 20-minute little session every morning. You have push-ups and sit-ups and all that sort of stuff, whatever. And then, just try and settle down a little bit because I'm very hyperactive. And I've been doing a bit of Zoom because I'm actually loving it because you actually stay in contact with people face to face, but not hand to hand. But at least I can see my friends and talk to my friends and do a bit of business on Zoom too.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's opened a new world, hasn't it, for everyone to communicate and do business. And it's been great. My local footy club, the Darley Football Club, the Devils, the My Devils, they've got a group chat on Facebook, and it's been great to see all the boys putting up their workouts during the week and where they're running and what they're doing. And I'm falling a bit behind, Dip, so in a way I'm glad this has put a pause on our season because I don't think I was ready to, but this is now giving me the chance to get out and start running. So I've got back into my running.
Don't forget what people write and what people do.
That is very true. I'm very suspect on a few of you boys.
Yeah, very suspect. But you know what I want to do, because I think last week you mentioned about your father, the washed-up surfer, right? Well, I wanted to take up surfing again, because I'm living down the Mornington Peninsula now, and I want to get back into the water. So I've booked some surfing lessons once not surfing lessons, windsurfing.
Oh, yeah, wind.
Yeah, I'm going to do some windsurfing, because there's plenty windy at the moment, but it's something I've never done before, and once we land on the beach, I'm going to go windsurfing. I hope I can get back to where I start from. That's I did it once. You remember windsurfing when it first came out? So I got the board, I got the sail. I went straight out. I couldn't get back in. I just kept going. I was like on the way to Tasmania. Oh, I fell in the water. I couldn't get back on the... I was crying.
I tell you, we might try and get the boys down there one day when you've got a little bit behind you.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we can do a little bit of a cutaway segment of how you're going down the windsurfing.
Yeah, I do windsurfing, but... Yeah, just try and do something different to yourself because that gets the mind going.
It is, yeah. Staying as active as you possibly can, but also staying within the government regulations that's been put in place.
Of course, not like the rugby league boys.
Yeah, rugby league boys. We look at photos and
silly boys,
and that,
silly.
So, but we're getting there. But we're going to cross quickly to a little break. So, what is outside the locker room? The work that we do in the community. This video shows our team out at Surrey's Hill Football Club. We tried to play this video last week, but unfortunately it didn't come up. But we've got it going this week, which is great. And our team out in the community at a sporting club doing what we do best, educating and supporting our local community participants. After that, we'll come back and we'll get into our local legend. Welcome to the SL Locker Room program for 2019. We're very excited to get started with things with you at your club.
How do we actually approach that conversation? How do we start that conversation with that person who we think He's going through a mental health challenge.
If you start that conversation through the text message, it might lead to an actual conversation in person.
Driving in the car is one of the best ways to have a conversation.
They've now opened up to you. What's your role that they've opened up? What's the step forward and the motions forward from there? All right, you guys get 60 seconds. What is your role from here?
Do you want to have a quick beer and have a chat about something instead of just asking a question, sort of bring a solution? Let them know they can always talk to you. Tell them something about you.
So when people have bad temper or people lash out, it's usually because they're hurting inside.
And as outside the locker room, we're here as a welfare program that you can message us, message Cindy, and Cindy will give you the tips and tricks and the steps forward to be able to help that person. If someone opens up to you, listen to hear them, don't listen to respond. Don't fix their problem, just hear them out. And that could be one of the greatest things you ever do. So if you take nothing away from tonight, take the community that you're in at the moment in terms of Surrey Park Football Club and just acknowledge the fact that you're around a club that had outside the locker room here, a mental health foundation. They're obviously caring about that side of things. And you guys have stuck around. Thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts for having us here. We'll be back and we'll see you later on in the year. And good luck. If you want to transfer, let me know.
Just got to reach out. It's the very first talking point, starting point, and once you hit that point, everything's going forward from there. So thanks, boys.
Hello everyone, welcome back, and we're going to jump into our local legend now. He's a guy by the name of Corey Sells, who pioneered outside the locker room up in Queensland. As I mentioned earlier, Dip, we had Christy Near on the show last week who pioneered OTLR over in WA. Now Corey is not only a great supporter of our program up there, but he's also a good mate of mine, someone I speak to on a weekly basis. We talk about a wide range of things. He's got a terrific story. He's a former president of a local football club up there called the Jindalee Jags, who was our first local club in Brisbane. They're a fantastic club. Corey's done a lot of tremendous work there, and we look forward to having a conversation with you, Corey, and the great work that you're doing up there, mate. But you've got a tremendous story as well about your history with drug and alcohol abuse and recovery and rehab, which we'll talk about as well. Welcome to the show, mate.
Good on you. Hey boys, how are we going?
Going really well, Corey. Yeah, welcome. I see in the background there, mate, they've got some nice jumpers up there. Have you got a collection of memorabilia yourself?
I do, mate. In actual fact, Dipper, there's your books over there.
Oh, don't tell him that.
My book, which one? I've written 5, Corey. Which one?
He hasn't written them. He wouldn't have written. You wouldn't have written the books, did you?
Yeah. Yeah. All my books have got pictures, mate.
And you colour them in.
Now, welcome along, Corey, and I know you're great mates with Jake, but also, how did you get involved with outside the locker room?
Well, actually, mate, I'd listened to the Howie games and I heard Jake's interview on the Howie games, and that really made an impact on me. Obviously, my story's from one of substance abuse, and I listened to Jake's story and sort of, I guess they aligned a little. And then it was only a couple of weeks later I saw 60 Minutes and Jake was on that episode with them when that young fellow had suicided and Jake was trying to support the family. And I turned to my partner Anne and I said, I want to meet this bloke and I want to do something with him. I've actually got goosebumps thinking about that at the moment. And it was only a couple of days later I jumped on a plane, flew to Melbourne and met Jake at a hotel down there. And that's all she wrote. We just met, it clicked, and nearly made me late for the return flight home having such a conversation with him. And we just decided to do something. And there was another fellow up here called Andy Colenso that was pretty keen to jump on board. So Andy was president of the Park Ridge Pirates. I was president of Jindalee Jags. So we got the guys up. We ran a session at Jindalee Jags, and then Jake convinced me to be a facilitator, and away I went. I did a session at Park Ridge Pirates. That was coming into 4 years ago now, I think. And I've been involved ever since, Dip.
Yeah. So, Dip, I didn't say this off the top, but Corey is a mad Hawthorn supporter. And
don't let the Brisbane Lions jersey put you off. That's my missus, and
under my thumb.
Hey, Corey, what number did you have on your back as a kid? Now, don't say 9.
What's that?
On your back as your Hawthorn jumper. Did you have a Hawthorn jumper? And what number did you have on the back?
I actually had a 7, mate. I actually had a 7.
At a 7?
Gary Ayres.
Yeah, is he?
The great Gary Ayres. I would have had 7 as well. Conan the Barbarian, we used to call him. Yeah, the biggest card scoring, the biggest card. But do not get in the way. Do not get in the way of Gary Ayres, and because he ran straight. And there's a part in the 8 grand final when we went from centre half back to centre half forward, just pushing the ball in and out, whatever. And he got flicked out, kicking a couple of goals and got the Norm Smith medal in 1988. But anyway,
Corey's nickname's Cuddles.
Cuddles, yeah. What's going on there, bud?
You want to give us a story behind that, Cuddles?
Well, I guess the boring story is that whenever I see my mates, I hug them, but that's not where it came from. And I actually do that. I do that because a handshake is actually a sign of distrust. It's where it was born. So when we used to meet as, back in medieval days, everyone fought with their right hand. So if you were going to hug someone, you'd stab them in the back. So you'd walk in with your hands like this, shake, and then hug. So I like to meet my mates with a cuddle, but that's not where it actually came from.
I was going to say, tell the
Bit of history
there.
I guess the funny side is, mate, if you give me 10 beers and I'll show you, if I give you 10 beers, Dip, you'll let me.
Yeah. What are you going to do after COVID, mate? What are you going to do after Corona? There'll be no hugs, no nothing, no shaking.
Oh, no, mate. It's very difficult. My mates are safe at the minute. It actually came from a footy trip. We went on a little footy trip up in Toowoomba, and we stayed at a place called the Wilsonton Hotel, and it's a bit of a bikie hangout, actually. And our coach at the time, Smokey, had said, "Now listen, fellas, we don't want to look like we're taking over this pub. Just stick to the side, stay to ourselves. We don't want any trouble." And then over the top of someone's shoulder, there I was walking across buying the bikies a beer, and I'm hugging them and carried on. And he went, "That's it, it's gone." That's really cool.
It's a terrific story, and Corey, you've got plenty of them. Now, just quickly, let's just take it back, mate, into your personal experience and journey with addiction.
Yeah, so I guess to take it back from there, I had a fairly unstable childhood with a lot of abuse and a lot of emotional, sexual, and sort of my mother was a bit of an emotional blackmailer, and there's a whole lot of stuff that happened in my childhood. It wasn't a very conducive to be a happy childhood, I guess. And that made me internalise my emotions quite a bit, and I became quite introverted. And I guess later on in life, just as a matter of growing up, someone introduced me to alcohol, and that changed me from being someone who was very internalised, very introverted, to external. And I was out with my mates, and they thought I was great and fantastic, and everyone was laughing with me. So I attributed being accepted to alcohol really early. So I started to, create the habit of whenever I was going out into social areas to start drinking. And that went from sort of just on the weekends, being, as a lot of us do, to pretty much every day. I was on the piss every day unless I didn't have any money. And then, I hadn't touched a whole lot of drugs when I was a young fellow. Experimented with a bit of marijuana, but not a great deal. And was living in a house with 6 guys, and a fellow introduced me to marijuana again. I actually said to him, I don't really like it, because marijuana made me go back internal again. And I was already living in here. I was numb. I felt, I had very little self-worth. I didn't really understand who I was. So alcohol, extroverted, was awesome. I thought it was. And then marijuana made me internalise again. So I said to him, I don't like it. And rather than being a mate to say, okay, dude, don't worry about taking any more, he said, I can fix that for you. And he put speed on the top of the marijuana I was smoking. So I ingested speed for the first time. And I guess the feeling of that made me just, feel like I was insurmountable and I could do whatever I wanted. So I quickly ditched the the marijuana side of that, and I just started bombing or swallowing speed, and then that went into snorting. And then one very fateful day, another guy I was knocking around with said to me, "Hey, have you ever injected?" And I was pretty much up for anything for an adrenaline rush. So skydiving, bungee jumping, water skiing, partying, whatever I could do to try to make myself feel alive, because inside I felt so numb. And I said yes, and I think you'd call it PTSD now, but I've actually got a very, very clear memory of. I can remember the pattern on the spoon that we used, and I injected for the first time, and I actually fell in love with the risk of that, Jake, at the start. That first hit and releasing my arm and my heart hammering so hard and so quick, and I had very, very low self-esteem. I'd actually had a lot of thoughts of suicide before that. And it was the risk of drug use that attracted me. And then obviously the partying that came after that. So that recreational use on the weekends was speed, ecstasy, cocaine, acid, whatever I could get my hands on, I would use. And then I guess...
Sorry, mate.
What's that?
Sorry to cut you off there. It just so I think that led you down a path of regular use, and and then eventually you turned things around and you got some support. So what did that support look like? So for me, I was starting to use. I was very secretive with my usage, obviously, and not many people actually knew what I was doing. But on the 15th of the 6th, 99. Probably a long time before some of your listeners were born, my young daughter was born. And that night I went out for a wedding of the baby's head and in an Irish pub in Albert Street, and I shot up that night. I carry still a lot of, I guess, shame and just, obviously accept that now, but I'm not very proud of that moment. But the next day I walked into that hospital and saw her lying there, and I just had this overwhelming thought that I needed to change my life. I needed to be a better person. I needed to be a better dad. And I went down in front of the hospital and I rang a mate of mine, someone I trusted, and I said to him, "Look, I don't know how I've got here. I don't know why I'm doing this or what I'm doing, but I need your help." And he came and picked me up, and he took me down to the Gold Coast to the casino actually, and introduced me to a fellow who ran rehab programs for alcoholics or gambling addicts or drug addicts, and I actually got taken to an AA session first, kicking and screaming, and then he realised that my substance abuse was much, probably not so much worse, but I was just a different substance abuse than that. Yeah. So he took me to my first drug rehab session.
Corey, when you went to the AA, did you stand up and say, "Hi, I need help," or did you just try and say, "I don't know why I'm here"? It's sort of denial. Yeah. I actually very clearly remember the conversation I had with that fella in the car park downstairs, and I said, "I don't need to be in this stuff. This isn't me." They're up there telling me stories about drinking alcohol. I drink more alcohol than most of those blokes drink. I was just argumentative, and then the fella that was down there said to me, "I actually want you to come somewhere else, mate, because I think there's something else going on." And he took me to a drug rehab facility on the coast, and I sat in my first circle work, and I was sitting across from guys. I was actually dressed in suit pants and a dress shirt, and I'm sitting across from guys in torn board shorts and ripped singlets who are living on the street with scabs all over, and I'm looking at them thinking, how the hell did I get here? And that was the moment I went, I need this. This is where I'm heading. And take nothing away from those guys. They would ask the same question: how the hell did I get here? You know what I mean? Because as you were talking before, it all seems to be about drugs and partying. I mean, what happens in between that? For someone who's never taken drugs before and whatever, I mean, what happens is, you mentioned partying, I've got to party. Why do I have to take drugs to go party, Jake? What's the go there?
Yeah, I guess it's just something in the Australian culture. And jumping in, Corey, with your experience as well, that we go out, we party. It seems to be the next step of progression. You drink alcohol. We know that when you drink alcohol, you're about 76% chance likely already to make the wrong decision. So it inhibits our ability to process information, to make calculated decisions. Yeah. Alcohol, it will bring that down, and more likely than not, you're going to make a decision based on insecurity, fear, maybe judgment. So you're around your mates, you don't want them to think ill of you. So therefore, you find yourself in an environment where next thing you know, you're using. So as much as it is alcohol and drugs, it's about people in your circle.
Yeah. It was actually interesting for me because the mates that I was hanging around, they recreationally used, but I just went to a different level than them. And it was actually, for me, Dipper, it was about hiding pain. I'd had so much abuse in my childhood that I had not dealt with, had never really openly spoke about that. And I was desperately trying to have some sort of sense of self and just feel. I just didn't feel anything. And when I finally got help, you know, a guy called Murray Mazarick really helped me through an organisation called Real Man. And he said to me, mate, for you, it's like you've got a 6-inch plate between your head and your heart. You just can't connect. And that's what it was really like for me. So my usage was really about, you know, from the outside, everyone would have just thought Cuddles is just partying, or wasn't Cuddles back then, but, you know, Corey's just partying and he's having a great time. But inside, I actually felt like I was dying. So that's what it was for me.
Yeah, definitely.
As a father, as a father now, how many children do you have now?
4.
Four children. Wow. And at what age group were you doing this sort of partying and drugging and, you know, alcohol?
Yeah. I was around the age my kids are, actually.
Right.
I was around that 22. I was married very early and had a marriage breakup early.
Yeah.
So I was around that 22 to 27.
You know, you must be, as a father, you know, you understand now that there's a different world out there. When the kids went out, when I went out, it was beer and, you know, and, you know, spirits, a bit of marijuana, as they used to call it, but I never touched that sort of stuff. But today, the choices the kids have got and the peer pressure, as a father, what are you saying to your children? Like, be honest and say, kids, I've done what you think. If you think that you're doing what I haven't done, I've done everything. But you want to do something, come and tell me and we'll go through it all, you know?
Yeah, I talk to my kids. My kids know my story.
Yeah.
I'm very open, and my whole family does. And I've got a really supportive missus too, mate, and she's an amazing human being. She's been through her own life, not addiction, but she's been through her own life story. So we're really connected to our past and have really understood.
Lovely.
You know, why we presented that behaviour. So yeah, I do talk to my kids about that and what they're going to be presented with, and they may want to experiment. But I just talk to them about our story and particularly mine and what that did for me and where that led. You know, my children hardly drink alcohol, mate.
Yeah.
You know, they're all over 18.
But it's hard to sort of say, don't do this, don't go that road. And of course, as soon as you say don't, they're going to do it, right? So you just got to be open up. Well, the way I treated my children and go, listen, if you want to smoke in front of me, you don't have to hide, right? You can come and smoke in front of me, and after a while, it wasn't cool anymore to smoke in front of Dad. You know what I mean? So you're trying to bring them close to it, and try to cut them off pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think kids these days have access to information. Online and
so much
it's easy
information.
to,
That's what the show's about. Kids out
be.
there, we're here to help you.
Yeah. Sorry, Corey, you gonna say something?
Yeah. So we have. I understand what you're saying, Dip. I don't sort of really subscribe to some of that. We have really clear boundaries around our kids. So what's acceptable here is not smoking drugs, not having drugs here, and not coming home like that. But we just really openly talk to them about it, mate. Our kids don't fear us to talk to us about that stuff. I guess that's the difference, is that they feel like they can come and talk to us, because one thing you did say before, that there's probably nothing they're going to go through, mate, that I haven't been through.
That's exactly right. And what I say about smoking was cigarettes, wasn't the other stuff, like, you know.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have that in my house. There's no way known. But being an Italian I as most Italians and migrants would know, you start drinking at the table when you're about 6 or 7, bit of soda with the wine and all that sort of stuff. And then when you become 18 or whatever, it's part of our nature. It's not something you're going to run at and say, I can have a beer now, you know what I mean? Mate, I've been drinking wine since I was 6.
Corey,
No wonder you probably had courage when you were playing 89 final, mate. Jeez.
Anyway,
Corey, we can't thank you enough for joining us tonight, mate.
Yeah,
It really
terrific.
means a lot to share your story, and you're a terrific man. I'll put in there your bio that you're basically the mayor of Queensland football. The work you've done up there in the community is sensational. We can't thank you enough, and we're very honoured and proud to have you a part of our program. It's exciting news that I can announce that we're working very closely with the Brisbane Lions over the next 4 months in a partnership with them.
They're
Thanks to the
fantastic.
great support to Kathy Reid and Stuart Giles of Epic Good Foundation that have actually put in the financial support to run that program.
And I love that little T-shirt you got on there, mate. More than just a game. Yeah, we are. It is more than just a game.
It really is.
But
yeah.
Corey, great to hear you're a Hawthorn supporter too, my friend. You know.
Yeah.
So next time we'll come up to Queensland, we'll have a beer and a hug. Cuddles, all right?
I'll give you a hug. There's a big space up there for some memorabilia too, Dipper. If
Yeah.
just saying.
I've got plenty, mate. I hope you can afford it.
It might cost you. All right, Cuddles. See you, mate.
See you,
Good to
Cuddles.
Thanks, boys. Have a great show.
We'll do.
What a great story, Jake.
Oh, terrific story, a terrific guy. For everyone who was listening to that, you would have heard a few things that Corey spoke about in terms of drugs and alcohol. And if anything was triggered for you personally and you want to reach out and speak to someone, that's what our program is available to do. So you can use that on our social media. You can ask any questions through there or jump on our website and message our welfare team through there. Otherwise, you can call our friends at Lifeline Dipper who do tremendous work on 13, 11, 14 and have a chat with them. But we'll be back after this. We're going to jump to a short ad break, and when we come back, we're going to jump into the new segment, Dip,
What's it called?
the Leo Barry.
Leo Barry!
Oh, good mark by Cox. Cox throws it onto the left. One last roll of the dice for the Eagles! Leo Barry, you star! Bob Murray reincarnate. The longest premiership drought in football history is over. For the first time in 72 years, the Swans are champions of the AFL.
So there you have it, Dipper, the great Leo Barry and that amazing folklore mark.
Grand
in the
final,
grand
that's what it's
final,
all about, those 1%ers, that one moment. I mean, he's played for nearly 13 years and just that one mark. He came from nowhere and saved the game.
He did. So this segment I was thinking about during the week, what can we do to further engage our local community? Now I think every local football club, or sporting club anywhere, whether it's netball, basketball, we have that one moment in a game that's really important there. It's either mark, kick, shot, whatever it is, that wins the game in the last dying seconds. So this segment is dedicated to those moments in community sport. So what we want you to do is after tonight, we've selected one for tonight, as I mentioned before, the Sorrento and the Pines Grand Final a couple of years ago as an example. But we want you guys to message through, leave your comments below, or jump on the website and tell us about that moment for your club, because we're going to pick one every week for the Leo Barry segment. And this week we've selected, we're going to cut to the footage now, where we have the Sorrento Footy Club playing the Pines Football Club in 2018, where Sorrento actually hit the front with a goal late in the final quarter, and then the Pines hit back with a goal withdrawal with 2 minutes to go. Now this young man here took a mark in the pocket. Now, as you can see on screen there, it's a draw. And this siren goes right now.
And he's on the 50-metre mark too, look at that.
And all he has to do is score. He doesn't kick a goal, but he kicks a point. Now have a look at that.
That's all you need, though. 1 point.
That's it, 1 point. You can imagine the party, I'm sure, that evening at the Pines Football Club. And what a tremendous moment it would be, and it goes down in history. So this segment is dedicated to that tip about clubs putting forward their Leo Barry moments. So every week we want to put them up and make sure that we can try and highlight. Was there a game in your career, or a moment in your career?
One stands out straight away because in 1987, we were playing Melbourne at Waverley. And I've got to tell you, that every quarter that as a siren, the wind had changed, and Melbourne actually kicked with the wind for about 3 quarters. Like siren, the wind changed. Because it's pretty strong wind at that way. And I remember Gary Buckenara taking a mark. And I ran in front of Gary Buckenara, and Jimmy Steins followed me through. Yeah. And that was the famous Jimmy Steins where he got the extra 15 metres. And then Gary, if you're ever going to get someone to kick for a goal, it would be Gary Buckenara, and he put it through. And that put us through into our 5th grand final in a row. Right, and it was just an amazing time because maybe 15 metres, maybe he could have got it or not, but it went post-time. But that's that one moment,
That's it, yeah. So the Leo Barry, we might try and get him on the show. And,
it'd be great to get him on the show. I see Leo around town or whatever, and everyone goes, yeah, Leo, but you know what? You do one thing on the MCG, people always remember that, always.
That's right, it goes down in folklore now. So send through your local community sporting club moment, not just football, we want to try and share
netball, tennis, you name it. If you've got a story, you want to hear about it, and we want to hear about your club, and what you represent and who you represent.
And let us know. So, next week, look forward to seeing what we can show, and we look forward to making that a really important part of our show.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to jump to another ad break, and then after this, we're going to go to Dipper's Vault. We're going to share the top three.
Okay, right.
The top 3 moments. But the next video we want to show is actually a really important organisation that we do some work with over in Western Australia called Youth Focus. Youth Focus are a mental health organisation supporting the community, and this video shares a little bit about their story and the work they're doing in Western Australia. So we'll be back after this.
Youth Focus needs your help to continue to support young people struggling with mental health issues.
Youth Focus needs your help to support young people like me.
In Western Australia, every week, one young person takes their own life. We know that there's a fundamental link between physical health and mental health, and that exercise not only benefits your body, it benefits your brain.
This September, join us for 11 Fit 30 and make your move towards better mental health.
Move your body or motivate your mind for 30 minutes each day for the 30 days of September.
Walk, cycle, meditate, or box your way towards better mental health. It's your move.
You can move a little or you can move a lot.
Move solo or in a team.
It's all about recognising the strong connection between body and mind and raising funds to support the life-saving work of Youth Focus along the way.
The funds you raise will help prevent our brothers, sisters
and friends from dying too young.
So get moving and kick some goals for youth mental health this September.
Sign up for 11 Fit 30 at youthfocus.com.au.
G'day guys and welcome back to Dipper's Vault. So last week we shared Dipper's top 5 plays that he played on during his career. And tonight, Dipper, what have you got for us?
Well, we've got 3 of my favourite grand final moments that I remember from any year. And in order is from 3 to 1. And let's just take a look at the video now. You know, I had an opportunity to play a few grand finals, but sometimes, you know, things work out for you, sometimes they don't. But this is 1986. We played against Carlton. We lost in 84 and 85 after winning in 83. So we really had to get back on the winner's circle, and we did in 1986. But that was a Saturday. But on the Monday, I actually won a Brownlow with Greg Williams, and we shared the Brownlow that night. And so it was a very, very long week that week. But to win the grand final, win the Brownlow that week.
Can you say there was a banner for you?
Yeah, well, after the game, the cheer squad made a huge banner for me, and I ran through it. And the funny thing was, I was so tired that I actually fell on the other side of the banner. But what a great night that was. I still remember it. But it was really important for Hawthorn to come back and win that grand final, because having lost in 84 and 85 against Carlton.
Here's the final siren here, Dip. So I think you come from the wing, so I think you might be on the bench, is that right?
Yeah, I'm on the bench, man. I'm on the wing, mate.
How far are you on the wing here?
Yeah, I was on the boundary line, okay? There we are, right there. And look at this, and look at that. The Sir Robert Gipier Medico stand. How nice of them to do that. But that's my great mate, Ronnie Ed and Terry Wallace. Well, in 1988, we had another opportunity against Melbourne, and if you notice here, I'm just popping around here somewhere,
you're actually on the wing here when the ball was kicked in, so I'll give you credit. You've worked your bum off.
Yeah, look at that left foot. Now what happened there was, as you know, like all good footballers, teammate, you meant to centre the ball.
That's not true. You did not try and centre that ball.
No, I had a crack a goal, and I kicked the wide centre the ball when you can kick it. In 1978, you see me there with short hair, you see me there with no moustache. This was my first grand final, and I was only 18 and a half years of age then, and I was told the night before that I was going to start on the bench because being very hyperactive and whatever. And then about 2 minutes before the game started, before we ran out, David Parker said, look, you're going to be on Arnold Bryant, who kicked 6 goals the week before on the half-back flank. I go, oh, okay. And then all that adrenaline went out there. Next thing, yeah, this is right here with my captain, John Scott. I'm jumping up and down. Look at it. I was just trying to find someone to hug. Anyway, that was a great memory. And, yeah, look, you know. What can you say? Well, they're my 3 favourite moments.
Yeah, they're fantastic moments. I've got to say, looking at that footage of you at the very end there, you actually look older then playing than you do now. Is there a secret to your skincare range?
Yeah, it's just normal skincare range out there. I remember driving my father's pink EK Holden to the ground, you know, and I cruised up in this pink car, you know. But anyway. That was a great memory.
Yeah, definitely. Now next week we'll put together again Dipper's Vault, and we'll find another question, mate, for you to relive.
Well, if you've got any ideas out there, you want to find out what some of my favourite things are in the game, please write in down below.
That's it. Send them through.
We'll
get them next week. So we're going to jump to another quick ad break, and then when we come back, we're going to be joined by a very special guest. Melbourne captain, Maxi Gawn.
Maxi Gawn.
Stick around and we'll come back with Maxi after this.
Big Maxi. A bit of poetry and slow motion from Max there. Tapped it to his own advantage. Got it to Lewis, and a huge roar from the crowd.
And then Hardwick with a long high ball to fall forward, and Maxi takes a colossal mark.
Intercepted by Bray, short tumbling ball up to Hogan, slapped on towards the goal square. Gawn trying to get back. He's got the size and the strength to snap on goal as Big Max Gawn.
Massive 30 minutes coming your way from Optus Stadium. Gawn decisively spikes it almost to half forward.
Huge for Ross, runs to 50, gets a long bomb, goal side, touched on the line. Max Gawn pulls down a ripper. Bailey French might have a shot here from 48 metres. The drop punt's on its way. It goes right across the face, and Big Maxi is there. But he probably will, as you said. His set shots have been letting him down. And he comes, check side. Oh, kicks the goal with absolute ease.
Can't believe you kicked that goal, Maxi. Welcome to the show, Outside the Locker Room show. Thank you so much. So folks out there, Maxi Gawn, now the new captain of Melbourne Football Club. About 121 games, about 12 years in the system, and he's now got the best haircut. Could you show us your haircut, please? There it is. There it is.
Very, very sharp.
Thank you very much. Hey, thanks for joining us, my friend. And Jake Edwards and I are absolutely having you here. We just saw some highlights there. It's been a long time you've kicked the footy.
Yeah, it has. Been a long time since I've kicked a goal as well. I don't know where you got that vision from, back in under 14s or something. No, it's obviously unprecedented times, and everyone's talking about it at the moment. So I'm not telling anyone they don't know, but I'm not telling anybody things they don't know. And we're just hoping footy comes back and comes back soon.
And what do you think about this hub talk? I mean, are you prepared to leave home because you've just been married and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, well then that question answers itself, Dipper. I was ready to leave home first day after the wedding. I've told the guys with families, you can more than happily, one of you can take my family spot because I'm going by myself. No, look, there is a lot of talk about hubs, and to be fair, I think it's one of our only options if we want to start the season in the next few weeks. So there'll be some people a lot more powerful than me that are talking logistics and what we can do in terms of families and whatnot. But I'm sure we'll be able to get to some sort of agreement and footy can get going, Dipper.
So you were drafted back from Sandringham, Maxi. Is that right, the TAC? Well, what are your earliest memories, mate, the under-18 competition?
I don't tell people straight away I was drafted from Sandy because it's a very private school stereotype. So I've got to be careful putting myself to the private school boys. But I was one of the public school boys in the Sandringham Dragons area. I just want to see that.
Cred. Yeah, good.
Yep. I was when the private boys went out to play private school footy. I was part of the team that never won a game, but they were gone. So. No, look, I remember Dragons footy well. I loved it. Obviously, when you're a 16, 17-year-old, all you want to do is play the highest level of football you can. And at that, it was either your local senior club or Sandy Dragons were the two things you were sort of aiming for. And I was lucky enough to play for both. And like when you're 17, you're sometimes playing Sandy on the Saturday and then sneaking in an Ormond game on Sunday, not telling anyone at Sandy that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And it's the best fun you can have as a footballer. So I remember those times quite well.
I remember I played the Western Jets, mate. I was recruited from there, and Sandy used to give us a nice touch up. The Jets weren't too good. Well, where did you get drafted from? It was a long time ago now. With you.
Well, I get drafted. I was zoned to an area. I lived in Hawthorn and I played around the area there. Maxi, I just talking to Jake before about what is it like now to be a professional footballer? Because you've been in the system now 12 years and football has changed. Every 2 years you've got new rules, 6 on 6 and 6 and new ins and outs, whatever. But the life of a footballer today, I mean, how hard is it when, there's a lot of ups, but there's a lot more downs, I would think.
Yeah, correct. I've said this before as well. It was the most challenging time of my life, my first 2 years of being a footballer. Just trying to learn the requirements needed on a professional level. I was as rough as it got, and I enjoyed a drink. I enjoyed a dart dipper. Like I was a real rough kid at 17, and I had to come into this professional system, and I sort of got lost away a little bit. And what I am glad that I did those first few years, I didn't change though. I changed the narrative a little bit at our football club that you don't have to be this stereotypical footballer to fit in. You can be yourself, and it's almost where I'm going as a captain now. The best version of my teammates is themselves. Christian Petracca can't waste energy trying to be somebody else, because he'll fall out of energy and have no energy to actually be himself when that's needed. So if we can promote that as much as possible, you're going to get the best version of those people and then the best version of your football club. And I felt like, not bagging Melbourne of 2009, but the football club that I walked into, you had to sort of fit that stereotype, and I'm glad. And it's almost the way millennials have changed the way working places go about it. But I can literally be any person I want to be, and I'll fit in at an AFL club now.
It's a terrific message,
Great
message that you're getting down your playing group. Well, was there a moment, or what was that moment for you? Was there a moment in your career where things clicked for you? Was there an individual? Was it a player? Was it a coach that started believing in you, so therefore you're reflective in you as a person?
From the get-go, I was telling this to Dipper the other day. Jim Steins was an incredible mentor of mine. I met him, obviously, the day one I got drafted. I got drafted with the likes of Tom Scully and Jack Tringrove, that went pick 1 and pick 2. So you can imagine the big beanpole ruckman who went pick 34 wasn't what everyone was waiting to see. But Jim sort of pinpointed me out in front of the whole group and said, I'm most excited for this guy. He's going to do things differently. And Jim did things differently as well. So to be able to have him as my mentor in those first few years, unfortunately, he was no longer with us, but he made me feel a lot more comfortable at the club. And then leaders such as Nathan Jones and Jack Grimes were probably the two that really just got a good balance on how they want their team playing and how they want their team performing both on and off the field. And I was able to fit into the club from there.
Yeah, what a great mentor, Jimmy Steins. I saw the other day, I met Jimmy at 14 years of age in Ireland. Ron Barassi and Kevin Sheedy went over there to look for some players, and when we were over there for the All-Australian team to play, as we mentioned with Johnny Panton last week, when we got him over to the club, Jimmy Steins taught us how to kick the ball and become the greatest friends. And what he's done in the community, as we all know, he's done some wonderful work out there and saved a lot of kids off the street.
Yeah, the Reach Foundation.
Yeah, the Reach Foundation. Now, Gawny. Now, okay, come on, take your hat off.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, that's you, right? This is you. The real you, okay? And you've got the beard and the hippie hipster. Now you got a wine bar. Is the coffee still going these days?
Yeah, so I got the wine bar, but the wine bar is unfortunately going through these times just as we are. So we're just an online bottle shop at the moment, which is not what I signed up for at the start of the hospitality trade. But and coffee, I've always got a love for coffee. Mum's been in hospitality for years, so I sort of copied her for coffee. I had a little coffee cart in the back of my house when I lived in Richmond that I used to get the teammates around to, and it got really popular to a point where I had sort of 20 to 30 people come around for breakfast, and I was cooking them smashed avo and poached eggs out of my backyard. I ended up having to pay my partner a wage, the amount of work the first 2 hours, but it ended up getting to a point where people were knocking on the back door that I didn't know. And then I realised that I might be getting in a bit of trouble here. I think I might be earning more than $10,000 a year. And
Hey, Max, you tell me where the wine bar is, and do you get there often?
It's in Camberwell. It's called East End Wine Bar,
Right.
opposite Riverley Cinemas on Camberwell Road. And I love it. Not necessarily for the wine. I'm getting my head around wine, and wine's a whole nother game. And it takes there's a 3-year course that I'm currently doing to try and learn about wine. It's phenomenal. But it's more the hospitality and the people side of stuff that I really like. So, and the creativity you can do in your own place. So that's the bit I really like, and hopefully there might be another one on the card soon as well.
I ended up having Dipper's Cafe in Carlton. I had it for about 8 years in Rathdown Street.
How did you come up with that name?
Well, the cafe was there already, but back in those days, I love the people interaction. But oh my God, it's a tough gig, my friend. But the thing is too, when the teammates come in, are you expecting them to pay? It's a hard thing. You look at a teammate who's had like a $50 bottle of wine, and you look at him and he looks at you and you go, that's all right, champ, you know. or you fair Nick and you go, right, and you come to my restaurant or my wine bar, you're buying.
It's a little bit different these days with the world of social media and influencers. You have to pay them to come to the bar.
Influencers?
That's true, yeah.
Wow.
Well, Dipper just signed up to Facebook, and he's slowly making his way onto the social networks. The next thing, who knows what you'll be on? What is there next? Is there Grindr or Tinder or something?
I have to pay Nathan Jones to come to my bar to drink wine.
Yeah, there you are. Hey, listen, talk about Nathan Jones. What about your tattoos, mate? What's going on there? Done there?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Okay. We can't see.
A couple little obscure. I've got one. I've got a little glass of wine on my wrist.
There you are.
Yeah. I've got a bike tattooed on my ankle. I've got my wedding ring is an actual tattoo.
Well, that's a good idea. You can never lose them, my friend.
And if we do go through a unfortunate breakup, I've just got to meet someone else with the letter J.
That's right.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of little obscure ones, but I'm never going to get the sleeve or.
And Maxie, judging by your haircut, it's very punk rockery. Are you a metal fan, or what's your favourite band or music you like listening to?
I think everyone my age, growing up from 15 to 21, loved punk rock. It seemed to be.
You're kidding.
Yes, Maxie, yes.
Maxie.
Green Day.
Good stuff.
Story of the
Year era, that type of
stuff. Yellow Card.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of bands.
Stop it. The music that Jake listens to is this.
That's a little bit harder than what I like. Story of the Year is as heavy as I go.
Actually, Michael Locken, the great Michael Locken, love that type of music that you listen to. Yeah. Anyway, just on the serious side of things, my friend, football is a serious game. Well, I hope you get back playing. But all right, let's just give a bit of a talk about the Melbourne Football Club. 20 years now since the last grand final. You're captain now. You played one game, and it's a losing game, right? So we don't want you with the stat, one game, one loss as a captain. Tell us where Melbourne's at the moment.
Yeah, I hope they know what they've got themselves into appointing me captain. It could be an interesting little ride. But I actually captained 2 games while Nathan Jones and Jack Viney were out injured, and I won both of them. So technically, I'm 2 from 3.
Okay.
And if I never play a game of AFL football again, that's the stat I'll be holding on to. No, look, disappointing start to the year. Look, it was a tough travel for us. It was in the midst of the coronavirus sort of outbreak, and we weren't sure if we were going to travel, and then we did travel, and we travelled very, very late Saturday night. We landed at Perth time about midnight, which Melbourne time's about 2 a.m, and then played at 1 a.m. the next day, 1 p.m. the next day. So it was tough circumstances to be in, but in saying that, I thought we were all ready to go when the siren went, but West Coast just sort of got the jump on us. So that's a bit disappointing, and we're 0-1, and it could be a 17-game season, and that one game might mean a lot. But it's going to be, like you said, 20 years since the last grand final, and I think it's 60 years since the last flag. I should check that, but 1964, what's that? How long ago was that?
Yeah, about that.
60 years.
56 years, I don't know, but a really long time, yeah. So in 2018, obviously, was our last final series, and you could see what it meant to the Melbourne supporters and what it meant to the Melbourne players and people that worked at the club and volunteers. And it shows that this club can be a really powerful club. We had back-to-back 90,000 crowds in that 2018 finals. So it's going to be very exciting if we can get it back up there. And this year, it's going to be the hardest one to win. People are saying there might be an asterisk next to it, but I think the asterisk is a pretty good asterisk. There's going to be games every 4 days and in an unprecedented sort of season. So it's even maybe more driven to win this one.
Now, I know your character, Max. You just obviously talking to you now, but what we see through media and so forth. Very laid-back character. Even when you make mention around captaincy and making it
very hipster.
Yeah, a bit of a throwaway line, but I'm sure obviously you take it extremely serious. And 4 years ago to where you are today, was there any vision or dream to become the captain of the Melbourne Football Club? And when did that become a reality? You mentioned you captained 2 games last year, but when did it actually get presented to you by the football club?
I mean, on your original point there, people see the guys that are in leadership positions being 100% themselves when presenting to the media. It brings a sense of calm to the rest of the group, and you can go on a larger scale in how Scott Morrison's handling this period and how Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand handles her country, and they show a sense of themselves, and people can really relate to that. Obviously, Melbourne Football Club's on a much smaller scale than those two, but they were the two that came to mind. 4 years ago, 4 years ago was when I first got appointed into the leadership group, and that came as a bit of a surprise. Sort of Roosie pinned me out of nowhere, and I think I kicked Lyndon Dunn out, and he was a good friend, and so it was an interesting little moment. But once I got into that position and realised how much I do enjoy developing young men, it became a real passion of mine, and I understand the on-field stuff, and the on-field stuff is probably the bit that I'll have to improve on, but developing people and developing characteristics is something that I really enjoy. So I will work on putting my head over the ball every single contest, like our last 2 captains in Jack Viney and Nathan Jones, and I feel like I do that. But the development side of stuff is something I'm really passionate about.
The good thing is they're not 15 captains. It's Maxi and Viney. That's 2, right? The last time a ruckman at Melbourne captained the football team was Carl Dietrich back in the day. So he's got a lot of work to do in front of him as a captain, but you can just see I love the fact that you can be yourself, and that's really important. A lot of people try and be someone else, but they're not, So, Maxi, we really thank you so much for being part of our little podcast, Outside the Locker Room. Just wanted to tell people out there, it is hard work being whatever you do, just got to put your time in it and be yourself. I love that.
Just a couple little final things, Max, before we let you go. Have you got any advice, mate, for the local footballer or the local sports person who can't play sport at the moment? What would be your advice to them in our community right now?
I mean, we all got to be in this together. We all got to stay home. We all got to do all the basic things they're asking us to do, which is phenomenal that we're at war, and how we beat it is washing our hands for 20 seconds a couple of times a day. It's relatively easy, but it can be seen as relatively hard as well. So that's first and foremost. But if you want to continue your fitness and your healthy mind and healthy soul and healthy body, really being on top of some fitness stuff is really good. But there's some great apps out there, and I've fallen in love with Strava. I've fallen in love with Zwift. I've got a fitness app, a health and diet app called, if you let me get on my phone, I'll be able to tell you what it's called. My Fitness Pal, which literally checks my calories. It's something that you can have a game with, and it keeps your mind nice and healthy. And that's one thing I'd say. We can't go out there and play footy, but we can go out there and still run and still burn some calories and still look after our bodies, so we come out of this with something rather than a beer gut and maybe a lack of work ethic.
Finally, Maxi, I play football in the Ballarat Football League still, and my captain's a guy named Shane Page, and he's a mad Melbourne Demons supporter, and you're his favourite player, mate. So could you just give a shout out to Shane Page at the Darley Football Club for me? And
how old is he? How old is Shane?
Well, Page is about 28 years of age now.
Right.
He's an absolute gun of our football league. He's a superstar.
Do you want me to shout out as well?
No, not you.
Okay.
We just want Maxi to give a shout out, and maybe just sell him some hope, mate, please.
I seem to appeal to a 28-year-old male for some reason. And Melbourne supporters are always described as mad. They must just all be crazy by now. It's been that long that they're all just crazy. But Pagey, loving your work up in Darley. I hear you're an absolute superstar. Obviously, he got appointed captain for similar reasons to me, because he's the best player in the team. So, looking forward to 2020. It's going to be a fun year for us. We're going to hopefully be there at the pointy end, and there might be some crowds towards the end as well, Pagey. So you can come
Yeah,
and
well
have a
done, Max.
little bit as well.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. Good man.
Now, Max has got his first ever captain card from Team Coach and Team Zone, right? The first ever captain card, and he hasn't seen it, but if you get a chance, folks, to make sure you get into and buy some footy cards and get the great man here. Maxie, thank you so much. Have a great season ahead of you. I won a Brownlow with 17 votes. Maybe you get a chance to do that.
I came fourth of 23 votes. That's how much it's changed.
Well, you know, no one remembers fourth, my friend.
Thanks,
and we'll see you down at the wine bar. Absolutely, we'll come down.
Thanks,
and what's the wine bar called again?
East End Wine Bar.
In Camwell Road, across the road from the Rivery. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Maxie.
Maxie Gawn, love that.
Oh, terrific.
What a great message. Yeah, be yourself. I mean, that is just beautiful, you know, because sometimes we all try and be someone else that we're not.
It's a terrific message. And you know what gives me real excitement about Maxie's appointment as a captain, Dipper, is that his method around leadership and captaincy, I think, for that football club now is exactly where they need to be. And it's a fantastic appointment.
No, we'd love to have him on the show again sometime. But what this show is all about, we're going to get our superstars and talk about who they are and what makes them tick. Because we're all different, but we're all the same.
That's it. And we're going to head to a break now, and we're going to come back. But this video here up next, Dipper and I actually went on a tour we went from Perth all the way up to Karratha. We called the Stigma Stops Here tour. And this video was day one, Dip, where we stopped in the beautiful friends in Geraldton. Dr. Rochelle up there.
And she looked after us, and we met some corporates up there to tell the outside the locker room story.
Yeah, we back after this break, and we'll go to our questions. G'day guys, we almost finished day one. And we've left Perth. Almost, nearly there.
What a long day.
Beautiful day, but...
Well, let's just go through the day, what we've done, all right?
Do it.
So we woke up.
We woke up.
I went for a swim. What did you do this morning?
I was running around picking up these beautiful vehicles and this lovely caravan.
And we thank all the sponsors on this beautiful vehicle, which I think you'll do very shortly.
We will.
But anyway, Channel 7 rocked up this morning. We got Troy Cook and Dale Kicker rocked up, talked about why they want to play in the second suicide game on December the 20th. I'm sorry, March the 21st.
That's it, yep. And then we went off to Warwick High School, where we spent some time with the students.
They were awesome.
They were great. They were fantastic. And then we got on the road, straight up the highway off to Cervantes, where we spent some time at the
Pilbras. No, it's the Pinnacles, not the
Pilbara. The Pilbara's a bit further up.
It's been a long day, I tell you, but the Pinnacles was amazing.
Yeah.
First time I've ever been there.
And the flies.
And 1,000 million flies, but we brought them along here as well. And now we're in Geraldton, which we love coming here. And we've got a big night ahead of us tonight.
We do. So thanks to Shine Aviation for hosting us tonight, Midwest Ports, as well as the Chamber of Commerce as well. But almost finished to day one, and we've been really excited, and comes to a close very soon.
You wait till day two. We might end up in the Pilbara.
G'day everyone, welcome back and thank you so much. We've come to the end of our second show, Dipper, and as you can see...
Yeah, we go skiing. I feel like one of those, you know, ole, ole. So, no, this is fantastic from your mates, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So all aspects, concrete, Daniel there. We've actually got
one of fishing with these. Look at that.
One of these hoodies here. They're fantastic little fishing tops. Good for winter coming into this beautiful Melbourne weather. But thanks to the guys at All Aspects, and also thanks to the guys at Game Zone for sponsoring tonight's show. And once again, if you're out there, you're a business and you want to get involved, not only to support our message and our charitable cause, but for us, Dipper and I,
just go to the website where we will have to hear from you.
Yep. And now we're just going to touch on the last segment of the show is a couple of questions, Dip. So we've got a guy from Sunbury named Mark. He's asked Dipper around, can you remember when he was drafted? But I know he mentioned before maybe drafted, but the zoning. Now I know...
Yeah, the zoning area. But actually, back in those days, you played local football. And while you were playing local football, there'll be guys watching you out there. And I remember my father, Stefano, and my mum, Antonietta, they knew nothing about football back in the day. And about 14, 15 years of age, 16 at the time, and they knocked on the door and they wanted to talk to my father about drafting. And they brought him in, they had no idea what's going on about the zoning area. And they said, we want your boy to play for Hawthorn. And Dad goes, let's have a glass of wine, another glass of wine. They got absolutely, had a couple, and then I came home from school and Dad, he virtually sold me. He sold me for cash. I said, but Dad, I want to play for Collingwood. So I used to play for Collingwood. He goes, no, you play for Hawthorn. They pay me cash.
And what year was that?
That was 1975. And then you before, I played my first game in 1975. I played 619 games, about 5 reserves, and my first game, because Lee Matthews was injured on that day, and I replaced him in the side against Fitzroy at Junction Oval. Then I didn't play for 2 years, and then in 1978 we saw the first grand final there, and right through to the career at the end.
People also forget that you played 99 reserve games.
Yeah, 99 reserve games through injury, but a lot of the Hawthorn, actually a lot of people in the 80s, in the early 80s, played a lot of reserve games, And at Hawthorn, I mean, Michael Tuck played 55 reserve games. He ended up playing 490,000 day games, It was amazing. Retired at 39 years of age. Actually, he didn't retire. The club said, I think you should retire. And he was spewing.
Yeah, he would have been. Great career.
Great career.
Great career.
Great man.
Yeah. Next question is from Megan up in Queensland. Has asked, she's involved with a sporting club. She wants to know how they can get involved right now, and given the circumstances that we're in. The best thing to do, Megan, is jump on our website, which is otr.org.au, and message our team through there. We do have great resources on our social media that's accessible for free, so articles and videos, and that's the reason why we're doing this TV show. But you can jump on there, and a member of our team will reach out about how your club can get on board with the Outside Locker Room welfare and education program.
It's pretty simple, and we've really enjoyed our time together when we went up at in West Australia. We visited the schools and so, and we got kids out there getting out of their comfort zone, about singing and whatever. Yeah. It's amazing what we don't know about other people, but... look
at Gawn's haircut.
Yeah, look at Gawn's. But you know what, if you get a chance to just jump on the website, and we'd love to be part of your club. It doesn't matter what type of sporting club it is, Jake.
Yeah, so the next aim for us moving forward, once we can come back to sport and the community face to face, we actually want to take this show out to your sporting club.
How fun would that be? Come to your club on a Thursday night. We'll have a great time. We'll take training, and then we'll just spin a wheel, and we hear those great stories about who kicked what and where they kicked it from on the great Leo Barry moments.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, once again, thank you all for watching and supporting Outside the Locker Room. And for anyone who has been listening tonight and once again wants to get in contact, jump on our website, visit our social media. For anyone out there who has experienced Outside the Locker Room at your sporting club already, and you want to reach out and get some support around your own mental health, or have a question for someone close to you, download our app, or our app is available to you all to reach out to our welfare team. So please go ahead and do that as well.
Now, I've learned something tonight about shout-outs. Hey, give me a shout-out with you and Maxie talking that young people stuff. Well, let's have a shout-out to our two boys here.
Yeah, we will.
Ben and Mark. They're really putting their time and effort in here, and we really appreciate you putting the show together, boys.
No No,
you know, a
fantastic
thumbs
job.
up by them. So well done, guys.
Yep, been tremendous and donated their time to
Yeah.
put together this great set, professional outfit we run, and every week we're getting better and better.
Yeah, well, I should get here and rehearse beforehand, but you know, what's... Yeah, mate, listen, from me, it's goodbye.
And from me, it's also goodbye. And please tune in next week as we bring you the Outside the Locker Room TV show with your host, Jake Edwards.
And co-host me.